Well, as we've just mentioned in the following, the previous report, that the International Monetary Fund expects Egypt to achieve the fourth highest growth rate among the most important global economies for the year 2023. To shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have this phono with Mr. Amr Mansi, strategic and economic expert. Good afternoon, sir.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm glad to be with you again.
My pleasure, sir. Well, sir, as the International Monetary Fund expects Egypt to achieve the fourth highest growth rate among global economies, what's your comment on this?
Well, actually, according to the latest IMF report issued on the 26th of July, and as per the World Economic Outlook report, they state that they have revised the projections for Egypt's real GDP in 2022 to be reaching 5.9. And it's important to note here that the IMF has previously revised it to 5.2, then to 5.6, and now to 5.9, which means there is an upward-looking perspective for Egypt's global economy.
Yes.
And although IMF expects Egypt's GDP to register somewhere between 4.8 and 5% in 2023, but this is really inflated because the average global GDP, and due to the COVID-19, of course, then after and its consequences and ripple effects, and afterwards the Russian-Ukrainian war. So the global average GDP has been lowered from 3.6%, this is the global average, to 3.2. So even at the 5%, Egypt would be operating at 50% more than the average global expected GDP. And of course, Egypt is taking its place amongst the key players in the emerging, in the boosting and emerging economies in the world. Yet some challenges shall remain concerning this point is that the inflation rate in Egypt is still at 7.5%, but this is partially due to relatively high interest rates the central bank is adopting, and in general, the relatively relaxed fiscal and monetary policies Egypt is adopting, and it shall not be lasting for long. So the inflation rate, even as a challenge, is temporary and shall be dealt with in the near future, as I expect.
Yes, so Mr. Mansi, how do you weigh the economic reform program performance in Egypt so far?
Actually, concerning this point, Egypt is undertaking the economic reform practices seriously and cautiously. And although there are several external threats and challenges due to the continuously reshaping economic and political ecosystem, but still, according to several macroeconomic diagnostic indicators, Egypt is doing very well so far, as we touched earlier concerning the GDP, having the inflation rate between brackets, and maybe later on we'll be talking about the unemployment rate and other indicators. Yet more structural reforms in the operational governmental model shall be a challenge, paired with other challenges of improving certain indicators such as the CPI, corruption perception indicator, and the human capital index and the redistribution of income. But those challenges are by nature long-term challenges, and they take time. And obviously Egypt is going in the right direction concerning the main macroeconomic diagnostic indicators. And also a bundle of motivators should be included in the future, and I believe it shall be, for low-risk institutional global investors. And one extra challenge is to empower innovation and entrepreneurship in Egypt to be turning into the African innovative hub.
Yes.
And this will be some reforms in the patent rights system in the nation.
Yes. So, Mr. Mansi, how do you view the state's efforts in order to improve the work environment and invest to support the productive sector?
Well, we've been facing harsh political and economic changes in the world, not only in Egypt. It's in Egypt, in the region, and in the whole globe. And it's not an easy task for any economist to be handling his way through such harsh changes and challenges, and finally proves whether the policies and actions have been successfully utilized and to what extent. But it's still very intuitive now that to mention that the ripple effect on the ripple effect of the COVID-19 and the Russian-Ukrainian war, on several aspects of Egypt's economy has been absorbed, contained, and effectively dealt with. And we can see that in the monetary policy and in the fiscal policy, sets of policies. Of course, such reforms and such adaptive changes in the policy, they should bear some cost. This cost is domestic, part of it domestic and international. But surviving those conditions in general, this adds to the factor endowments of the country in terms of its capabilities and its knowledge. And still, one challenge shall be remaining, which is a long-term challenge as well. And Egypt is doing well in this issue, is the fair redistribution of income. Because this might be one of the main indicators for the common person in the street. And I believe Egypt is doing this very, very well, but it's taking time by nature because such reforms, as I mentioned previously, by nature they take longer time.
Yes, Mr. Mensi, also the International Monetary Fund also expected that the unemployment in Egypt rates would drop to 6.9% during the year 2022-2023. So how do you read this?
It's true that the unemployment is expected to dip down to 6.9. Previously, it has been at 7.9 in 2020 and at 9% in 2010. And I believe that safe range for unemployment shall be somewhere between 5 and 6% for the unemployment. And obviously, we are hitting this area. Maybe within 2 or 3 years, we shall be hitting somewhere below 6%. And the improvement in unemployment is a very good indicator. It's not a leading indicator, but still a very important indicator. And to start with the Egypt's efforts that I personally can witness in different sectors concerning the human capital index, concerning investing in the human capital. And this per se, paired with other factors, shall motivate and empower direct investments, whether they are foreign direct investment or in general private direct investments, to keep flowing in. And even to be redirected into more sustainable long-term developmental projects and industries rather than being money that can easily fly out again. So one of the main components for investors is the labor market and how the labor market is shaped in Egypt. And we can witness that some decent reforms are taking place through quasi-governmental institutions also.
Yes, I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information, Mr. Ali Mensi, a strategic and economic expert. Thank you very much for joining us over the phone. Well, with this, my dear viewers, we come to the end of this episode of our program, Cairo Local Time. My name is Amal Mukhtar. Thank you for watching.